Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bengaluru, India. This is the FIBA Women's Asia Cup 2019 Group Phase Group A game between Korea and Chinese Taipei. Well, India for the second consecutive time hosting the FIBA Women's Asia Cup. 2 years ago, this event was held in this very arena and ended up being won by Japan in a thriller over Australia. Chinese Taipei and Korea would love to make a nice run to get to the podium, however, and today is a vital game for them. We just watched Australia win big over the Philippines. No surprise there. Following this will be an intriguing game between China and New Zealand, and then we'll wrap things up with a clash between host India and the three-time defending champions, Japan. I'm Jeff Taylor, joined by Mark Mills, and this is the type of game, really, you know, these two middle games today are the ones that we came in thinking, okay, we're not exactly sure how this one's going to unfold. Yeah, there's a piece of paper between these two teams. You look back to the last tournament here in Bengaluru, and, you know, Chinese Taipei, they finished 5th, and Korea finished 4th. The heartbreak for the Chinese Taipei team was the fact that that cost them a trip to the World Cup finals. You know, for Korea, they obviously got that final berth there. So I imagine there's a fair bit of motivation on the Chinese Taipei side where they want to get a top 4 finish here this year. Well, Korea always among the challengers for the podium, kind of in a rebuilding phase. And for Chinese Taipei, well, they're a team that has gotten to the podium before, but clearly start out in this tournament not as one of the favorites to get there. But again, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, certainly. It's like you say, it's these middle teams. We have an idea in our heads who we think are going to be that final 4, or at least in the final. But it really is for any of these teams to cause the upset, and any of these individual players to really stake a claim to be one of the stars of the tournament. And there's plenty of, you know, talent within both these sides here that could potentially be one of, you know, the top players of the tournament. Well, these teams are no strangers to each other. They typically always face each other in these competitions, also in other competitions in Asia Games, what have you. So there won't be too many surprises as they square off. And I know that Korea will be eager to show they can come back and be among the real power teams in Asia. The introduction of Australia and even New Zealand in that standpoint has really upped the ante for teams like Korea and Chinese Taipei. Yeah, it's increased the level within the Asian tournament, and it's great to see. You know, for Australia and New Zealand, as well as it's good that they're always in the final of kind of the Oceania tournament, I'm sure they're happy to be in what will be a tougher competition for them going forward. And I imagine Australia, looking at both Korea and Chinese Taipei, they're not going to take them lightly in this tournament. And interesting to see who takes the win here today, because it's a big step forward. This is probably one of the bigger games for both of these teams, and it happens to be game day 1 for them. Well, the players on the court, we are now going to have a pause in the commentary for the playing of the national anthems. We start with the national anthem of Team Chinese Taipei. Okay, national anthems have been played. Coach Lee Moon-kyu and his counterpart Ken Wagner shake hands, as well as the players. Referees always play an important part of every game. We'll get a look at them as well. There they are lining up. And they have been given the call on opening day, so that's an exciting time for them. Of course, also, we should be getting a look at the rosters and the starting fives. And Mark, I know that you really enjoy going over the rosters and what have you, so I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, looking obviously at the Chinese Taipei side at the moment, the ones that stand out for me is their front court. They've got a nice pairing of Huang and Cheng, and I think, you know, Huang 10 points, 3.7 rebounds, 2.7 assists in the last Asia Cup in 2017, and Cheng 7.5 points, 4.7 rebounds. I think they could cause not just problems here today, but they could cause a lot of teams problems.
So keep an eye on Peng, number 23, famous number. You know who wore number 23, don't you?
Oh, I can't think. Top of my head, it's just gone.
His Airness. And the Chinese Taipei team will go with Chen, Tsai, Cheng, Huang, Lin, Chuan, and Lin in their starting five.
For Korea, again, first game is going to be absolutely critical to them, and for me, they've returned 4 players from their World Cup squad, which is always good to see. That kind of experience that they've taken from the highest level of basketball in the world will pay dividends in this tournament. There's no two ways about that. And the likes of Kang averaged 14 points per game in that World Cup and really had a standout breakout performance. So the world could see exactly what Korean basketball is about.
So for Korea, Yoon Ah, Kang Il-sul, Park Hee-jin, Kim Min-jong, and Bae are going to be in the starting five. We'll see a lot of, I always expect to see a lot of threes go up when Korea plays. And Chinese Taipei, I'm expecting a fair amount of threes as well, but I like their passing game.
Yeah, it's difficult because you imagine that these teams will try and impose their style on the game, but you also, you know, from a coaching point of view, you have to accept what's being dealt with you by the opposition. What are they playing? You know, we just saw in the previous game with Australia, they dominated in the rebounding stakes and they try to play a bit of transition ball. And again, you wait to see what the oppositions are going to throw at you.
Let's go right from the beginning. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Defense!
There's Ken Wagner, been in charge for several years, and good to see him amble out on the court yesterday for their practice, as well as good to see Coach E putting his team through their paces. Lee Moon-kyu, and now that, you know, both of them are wondering, has all this work that we've put into this tournament going to pay off?
Yeah, so much preparation goes into these tournaments for the players, not just before, obviously, the years building up to this. This potentially could be highlight moments for an awful lot of these players and an opportunity to shine on one of the biggest stages.
Box out for Chinese Taipei. And then Lin is fouled by Kang as she goes up.
And it's an interesting start for Chinese Taipei. You can see the energy and the pace that they want to play at. They want to get up and down the floor as quick as they can, and that's great to see. Imposing yourself early on in a tournament and early on in a game is great for any team to do.
And Lin goes to the line and makes the first. You know, just looking at it from the outside, I think this was just too close to call. I really don't know how this is going to unfold.
Yeah, certainly I don't think there's a clear favourite in this one, and I think the players will be aware of that as well, which, one, motivates you because you know you can get a win that, you know, is an important win, but also maybe some nerves will play a part as well, because it is such a big game so early in the tournament for both sides.
Well, driving in and missing was Park. Now Huang gets it over to Chai. Ling launches it from deep. Of course, if you win the group, you go straight to the semifinals.
Yeah,
if you finish second or third, you have to go into the qualification for the semifinals. Nice bounce pass. And again, another opportunity, goes begging. And then Huang reaches in and ties up the Korean, so possession arrow will go to Korea.
And that idea of a classification game to make it through is absolutely critical, because pretty much every coach will want a rest day. This is an intense tournament where games just keep coming at you, so trying to grab that rest day would be huge.
Now Huang and Chin are going to go out. Ching stays in the game. Hong comes in, number 23. And beautiful pass and beautiful finish. So right after coming into the game, Chu delivers the pass and gets the assist on Pong's basket. Finally, something falls for Kim.
And the difference at the moment between the two teams is literally, as we said, nothing. At the moment, it's just Chinese Taipei have got their shots to fall, whereas Korea has struggled to make those easy looks.
Pong, ball knocked out of bounds. Very good play by Kim. Min Cheong. There they are at the charity stripe, turning around, misses the bank shot, Korea, and goes down Yum, who's been pretty impressive here for Korea here in the early going.
Yeah, it's been a good start for you know, only 2 points on the board, but influential in so many other ways. And you see how much it means for both teams. So they're really playing quite high intensity on the defensive end early on. They've really kind of started out the gates early defensively.
And you can see Yum really, to make sure she got the foul called, went down. So Chin goes out. Here's from Coach Wagner. And Chin also goes out. So Wagner really going to his bench here early. A long tournament, you want to get all your players in. You've had a good start. You're up 8-6 midway through the first quarter. Now Korea's Pong ties her shoes. Korea will know if they're only down 2. It's been a difficult start, but they can take the lead if they knock in a 3 here. Another miss by Park. Chai, who's already scored with a jumper, this time goes in. It was a good-looking shot, good-looking move, but didn't finish with the left hand. And now driving and denied was Bay.
And it was nice to see Chai there. That's the first time we've kind of seen a back to the basket play, and I think that's going to be an important aspect of this game. As much as both these teams want to drive, want to shoot, I think there's going to be phases in the game where they're going to have to rely on their post players for points.
And Bay flies in, gets the rebound, and then Chai commits the foul.
Great hustle play, just took Chai by kind of, you know, took her by surprise. She wasn't expecting anyone to fly in the baseline, but it just shows as soon as the shot goes up, you need to be looking around you, find that box out. Wasn't even a jump shot, really, really flat.
Bay, pass intercepted.
never an easy passing line when you're trying to pass straight down the lane. Easy to intercept for the defense.
Wang Fanshan hands it off to Chai. Again, Chai goes to the basket. Bei reaches in and knocks it out of bounds. Chai's going to come out of the game now. And coming in as her replacement is Huang, number 24. So we're going to get a timeout here with 3:17 remaining in the opening quarter. We'll go down to the bench at some point and try to listen in.
It's interesting, though, from Chinese Taipei. Straight away, they've run 10 players in the first almost 7 minutes. And how will that impact the game for the 40?
자꾸 이렇게 그 외곽으로 나와서 해. 커팅하고 해. 맞지? 야, 지금 봐봐. 수비를 완수련을 해. 스타트해. 그리고 맨투맨 돌아가는 거야. 알았지? 네. 자, 수비를 이렇게 쓰고 여기 손 들어줘. 여기 나가는 거. 그 다음에 갔다 와서 3-2야. 네. 알았지? 네. 알아들었어? 네. 알겠지? 네. 지금만 맨투맨이야. 저 한 번만. 오케이? 防守手有没有用追防的哈？加油加油好不好？再来哈！ 1, 2, 3.
Coach Wagner has his translator there. Very kindly spoke to us yesterday, just making sure we had the pronunciations right.
Yeah, we're up on offer now, though, right? She'll be listening back to the replay of this.
I wonder if she will be pleased. I'm not sure, actually.
We'll have to ask for our grade at the end of the game. See what she comes back with. Interesting on the stats side, though, Korea already 5 offensive rebounds. We saw that in game 1 with Australia dominating the boards. That's a trend that Chinese Taipei will need to check as soon as they possibly can.
Well, I have to say, no complaints from my standpoint at this FIBA Women's Asia Cup so far. Took a while to get here, but Bengaluru has been a fun place to be, and now it's all about the opening day of the basketball tournament. And both of these teams going after what would be a very important win, and Chinese Taipei a little slow. It was almost as if they didn't realize the shot clock was had gone down. I can't remember what it was when they went to the timeout, but clearly there wasn't much time.
Yeah, I think they had a shot clock of nearly 14 seconds, but I think they were thinking it was just a fresh 24 that they were going to come back into, because you saw those last 4 or 5 seconds they actually started making a move. Way too late to trigger your offense at that stage. And that was the right move from Korea. They were going for a 2-for-1 on the offense to finish off the first quarter. It was just badly executed, and what that left you was with such a huge transition attack from Chinese Taipei that it gave them an easy 2 points. So from what looked like was going to be easy score for Korea, flipped around, 4-point change really.
Yeah, 4-point swing. So that is the end of the first quarter, and it's Chinese Taipei on top 14-12 over Korea.
So yeah, interesting first quarter stats. No one hitting anything from the outside, everything going inside. And this might be a tactic from both these teams. They want to score high percentage chances inside. At the moment, looking at the likes of Chinese Taipei, they've spread the love, that's for sure. They've got 7 players that have already bothered the box score, and they've also rotated through 10 players so far in that first quarter, which is an impressive testament to Coach Wagner and exactly how he's going to approach the game. For the Korean side, they made great opportunities. They missed great opportunities. I think that's rough. On 4 points, Kim and Yoon. But for Korea, I don't think there's much change to be made. I think it's just they need to execute in that final phase of play. Just waiting for the teams to come back out onto the floor now in obviously game day 1. 2-point lead at the end of the first quarter for Chinese Taipei. And yeah, an exceptionally interesting first quarter, almost a bit of a chess battle between these two. A little bit of nerves being shown, but plenty of intensity from both sides has left us with a relatively low scoring affair. But as we expected, there's very little between the two teams. Remember, in the last Asia Cup, Korea finished in 4th and Chinese Taipei finished in 5th. So plenty to play for both these teams.
Well, second quarter underway. And good denial there, but Korea getting it back. I think Korea might have a slight advantage on the boards ultimately. Park Hae-jin travels, and Park Hae-jin had so many opportunities where, you know, open jump shots, and right there it's just not executing.
And you feel for Lee Soo-kang because she's the one that's done all the hard work. She's done so much hard work to get that open pass. She's taken a triple team to get a teammate open, and it's not being finished.
Chai has the ball knocked out of her hands. Kim gives it over to Bae. There's Park. Now Kang, Lee-soo. Park over to Bae. There's Kang Lee-soo, and it's short. And Chinese Taipei riding their luck right now because Korea are going to eventually knock down some of these shots. Kang again. Good box out by Chai.
And that's what they need to work, and they've already given up 10 offensive rebounds.
And you know what? That is frustrating for Korea. You have 3-4 attempts at the basket. You should probably make it at least on 3, convert on 3 of those chances. And then Chinese Taipei just need 1 chance to hit the 3. Now a foul called. And that'll be no problem for Chinese Taipei. They'd like to play some disruptive basketball, and Huang commits the foul. This was Huang Fanchan's 3-pointer. Kang Lee-soo drives in, banks it in.
Interesting to see how this 3-2 zone now from Korea, trying to limit the perimeter shots that they'll get. Certainly worked that time. Made them take a tougher shot further away, contested. Obviously Korea identifying that Chinese Taipei, if they get hot from the perimeter, could start scoring in a hurry, so smart move.
That was Kang's beautiful drive. Again, one of the veterans in this team. Whoa, and Bae went down hard. Park, meanwhile, gets in and just can't get it to fall. Park Ji-hoon looked like that was an easy 2. Just didn't knock it in. And now Chinese Taipei with another chance to stretch the lead. Shot clock down to 7. Sang Ting lays it up and in. So 8-point lead, and again, very frustrated for Korea because defensively they have expended a lot of effort, but they keep giving up some 3-pointers.
Yeah, a couple of instances as well. They've given away some offensive rebounds to Chinese Taipei, but that's a product of the fact that Chinese Taipei are shooting 3s now, so they're spreading the Korean defense.
The ball, that basket just seems to have a lid on it for Korea at this point, with teams diving on the floor for the loose ball. Yun Ah not able to come up with it. It's going to be Chinese Taipei basketball. So the challenge for Chinese Taipei, though, they're going to have to win this over the 40 minutes. I mean, there's no doubt if Korea, in my opinion, continue to play this hard on defense, they're eventually going to start scoring.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of time. For Korea, what they need to do, though, is they need to make sure they're staying close. They can't let this gap come out. Chinese Taipei are having their moment in the sun at the moment. They're hitting some threes. Their offense is flowing defensively. Although they're allowing Korea to have reasonably good opportunities, Korea aren't punishing them on that. So at the moment, Chinese Taipei are kind of at the top of the crest of a wave. For Korea, they just need to hold on to them. Things will start flowing their way offensively. They'll start getting the baskets to drop, and that's when they can pounce.
Huang. There's a Huang Fanshan. Nice bounce pass inside to take it back out. Now Huang opening the left. And a hold called on Korea on Park Ji-hyun.
And this is what they can't afford to do. They can't afford to get frustrated and give away those silly fouls, because that personal foul situation will creep up on you in that fourth quarter.
Park over to Kang, who's been pulling the strings, but Korea just haven't capitalized. Young, now back to Park. Shot clock down to 5. Bay. And Jin misses.
Chinese Taipei there. That first phase of defense was absolutely blitz-like. It was unbelievable. They chased down. They went over every screen and worked so hard. But again, giving away that offensive rebounds, demoralizing.
Well, offensive rebound gets Pong a shot. Pong had her teammate wide open. Huang gets in. Han misses, but another opportunity. Huang Fanshan gets it over to Pong. Shot clock down to 5. Huang Fanshan looks for space, drives in, and nowhere to go. And you could see was kind of absorbing contact, hoping a foul might be called, but I think the referees quite rightly did not.
Yeah, Huang there was working so hard to draw the contact, really pushing as hard as she could against the defense, but good call by the officials. Well, good no call, really. It's just good defense, ultimately.
Six-point lead for Chinese Taipei. Bay's going to go out, get a well-deserved breather. So coming back in for Korea is Kim Min-jung. Lee Moon-kyu, the Korea coach, just thinking at some point this is going to break our way. Now a hold has been called. So Lin picks up the foul. Lin Yung-ting. Her first foul. Park Ji-hyun gets it over to Young. Young says, get out of the way, I'm taking this. Nope, she's going to pass. Then a quick pass, and oh, what a play. And going to the line will be Kim Min-jung. Knew exactly how much time really she didn't have, and tried to score with the alley-oop, and Chinese Taipei committed the foul.
That's wonderful. Both teams are playing such gorgeous, intricate basketball at the moment, both ends of the floor, working so hard and so precise. They've obviously got their set offenses that they're trying to run. We saw there straight away, you know, they're looking to get Chin into the low post to draw that double team across. Exactly that, and a wonderful cut from Kim And she's just unfortunate it wasn't a three-point play that she was looking to finish off.
Kong had something in her hair that the referee wanted taken out, so it ends up making Kim makes 1 of 2. I mean, Korea 0 of 7 from three-point range, but a lot of their misses inside the arc have been very makeable shots, especially in that first quarter.
And that's the thing. That's why they won't be too frustrated. They might be down by 5, and that's not where they want to be. But they know they've worked their offense well. They've stuck to the game plan, and it will start to fall. It's only a matter of time.
Lin, dangerous pass. Jin almost coming up with a steal. Now Lin steps back, and Huang denied on the baseline, and Pong did get it off in time. Yes, and another chance. Pong hesitates, gets in. Beautiful pass to Han. And Chinese Taipei patience did not pay off.
What she should have done, though, is go to the basket. She had the size difference. Don't fade away. Players too easily fall to this fadeaway shot, and it's such a difficult shot to hit.
Korea didn't want Pong to go back door, so they forced it back out. Now Lin. Huang takes the ball, puts up a very difficult shot. Flying in for the rebound was Jin.
You feel that Korea is starting to get a little bit of momentum, a little bit of offensive drive about them, and a bit more confidence than they've had in the opening phase. Oh,
an offensive foul has been called on Kim.
And that's an absolute game killer when you're starting to get a buzz, starting to get momentum. Having a turnover like that that's so easily to avoid. It's, yeah, kills all of that momentum.
This was Kim on the turnaround bank shot. I mean, the only thing I'd say about that is if that's a shot she's practicing a lot.
And it looked like it was.
Yeah.
It looked like almost a set shot for her.
I take your point. Good things happen when you attack the basket. Might get a foul called, for example.
Yeah, exactly. You're looking with a fadeaway shot, you're looking to take a tougher shot and still only get 2 points. You go to the basket, potentially draw that foul within a higher percentage shot as well.
Hey, on offense, start shooting with AI. You got to shoot it. We have wide open shots. Shoot it.
See, 0 for 7 for Korea. I can tell you right now that is not going to stay that way.
No, you'd expect them to start hitting some shots as well, but at the moment they seem really focused on getting inside, and I don't blame them. They're getting high percentage shots, and ultimately that's the name of the game. You get the best possible shot you can in 24 seconds. The issue they've got is they're just not hitting those high percentage shots. It just seems a real anomaly at the moment for Korea.
Well, Kim Wagner used to be the athletic director and the men's basketball coach at BYU Hawaii.
Not a bad place to ply your trade.
I'm surprised he resigned, but you know what, he took up other opportunities, and here he is coaching in a FIBA Women's Asia Cup. That was back in 2016 when he said adios. And good anticipation, almost coming up with a steal was Park, but Chen then had an opportunity and didn't knock it in. Here's Park. And again, the bounce pass was there, but this time Young wasn't there for the catch, and almost a travel on Chinese Taipei. Huang denied.
Ultimately, a smart decision by Huang, though. Had the opportunity potentially to carry on that transition, but decided to slow it down. She brought it back, and the wise move, really.
.216 remaining. Chinese Taipei up by 3. Nice move, and the foul, drawing the foul. So it's Park Ji-hoon. Ji-hoon picks up her second.
It's a smart move. Park Ji-hoon was expecting the handoff. It wasn't there, so she was caught napping a little bit on the defensive end.
in. Now, might have been better taking that one out, Cheng. Good cut to the basket by Koo. And Koo called for the travel.
Yeah, both teams just showing a little bit of nerves in the last couple of minutes or so, not connecting, not making the right decisions in tough pressure situations.
Gets down on the baseline, a little too much dribbling, and was bailed out after being able to throw the ball off of Jin, number 31. Look at this. What are you doing? Dribbling the ball through your legs, right in front of two players. See a big scratch there on Lin Yuting. Here's Lin. Hands it off. Beautiful pass and nice finish by Ching. Cha-ching.
And Chinese Taipei still just keeping that gap, that 5-point gap now, and they're not getting into that one-score situation, Korea, because you have a feeling if they could take the lead, there's a psychological barrier that would be snapped, and maybe that could get them on a roll.
Yeah, and I think it's inevitable, and they are saying it's going to be a foul on Pong boxing out and going under. Obviously, they're going to disagree with that one, but here it is again. Watch the box out. I think the key for Korea is to drill a three. That was the last basket by Chinese Taipei. If they hit a three, I think the floodgates will open. I really do.
Yeah, the confidence from the outside for them is going to be so important.
How many times over the years have we seen Korea put in this type of performance, struggling, doing things right, just not putting the ball in the basket, and then all of a sudden the ball goes in the basket and bam.
They're definitely a real confidence team as well.
Yeah.
It's one of those where, like you said, it's the key to the door. You open it up and you can see a ton of points being poured in pretty quickly. And you could see on the flip of that, Chinese Taipei, maybe a little bit of their psychology being broken. Because at the moment, they'll be really, really happy with how things are going. They've turned it into a bit of a scrappy game, which will suit them a bit more than the Koreans.
Look at the D from Korea forcing the turnover. Park has it. And driving in, and again, another miss. This one by Jin. This gets to the line.
But we've talked about it before. Exactly, a tad fortunate. She should have made that be a foul. She's not driven hard enough at the defender. She's not initiated the contact, because when you're the one that initiates that contact, you're the one that's in control of the situation.
But that was a good call. She was sliding in under her.
It's absolutely the right call, but if she'd been the one to go and make that contact first, she's in control of where that contact's going to happen, and she can then have some kind of stability to make the shot.
So 30 seconds left in the half. Korea called timeout. Let's listen in.
이게 뭘 하는 거야, 농구를? 지금 우리가 후리 들어오잖아. 후리 넣어놓고 맨투맨이잖아. 맨투맨이지. 자, 파울 없이 해야 돼. 그러면 우리가 집에 내려오면은 빨리 속공을 해. 알았지? 한번 공격할 시간이
不要急哦，谨慎一点看处理球，好不好？看到空档去。
Every time we dribble here, they trap.
现在我们只要一下球，他们下面后面的就会跟屁股过来做包夹，自己要很
Okay,
小心，好
look,
不好？
from now on, when they trap, this
一
big
定要上
come
高
right
位
here.
哦，中锋一定要上高位接应球。
Okay, let's go. Rebound. Let's go D. 1, 2, 3, D.
切到。
자,
Chinese Taipei leading at 24-22 over Korea, and Chen has 4 points. Not a high-scoring game, and so you're not going to have a player that shows up with 18 points in this game, but it's all been about hustle and everybody just kind of giving that little bit of extra on both ends of the floor for Chinese Taipei and riding their luck a little bit. Kim Min-jeong with 10 points and 6 rebounds for Korea.
Yeah, it's certainly been a team game for Chinese Taipei. I think showing their top scorer with only 4 points highlights the situation. They've got 10 of their 12 players already registered scoring points, and 11 players have played at least 6 minutes in that first half. Tells you all you need to know about Chinese Taipei. For Korea, it's been a kind of first half to forget from the perimeter. They're 0 from 7 from outside. The only thing that's rescued them is their rebounding effort. 13 offensive rebounds in that first half. They've out-rebounded Chinese Taipei 39-21, and that's really what's kept them within 2.
I'll be very surprised if this Korea team doesn't heat up at some point in the second half and probably in the third quarter.
I think if they don't, then Chinese Taipei are taking the win, and you know they'll run back to the locker room very, very happy with that result.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, anytime you can get a win, Coach Wagner has to be happy. But you really felt like the dam was about to burst at the end of that first half when halftime came. And can Chinese Taipei maybe get some of that momentum back?
And this is the thing. Ultimately, this game is going to come down to one thing. If the second half becomes higher scoring, then Korea will take the win. If Chinese Taipei can keep it a slightly scrappy, more mistake-strewn second half, then Chinese Taipei are in the driving seat for the win.
Let's go defense. 1, 2, 3. Defense.
Well, we are in Bengaluru, India. And this is the FIBA Women's Asia Cup. Second time in a row that the competition has been staged here.
Understandably so. Wonderful city.
Certainly no complaints from our end. I have to say I'm a big fan of the food around here. Never had quite so much spice.
In everything.
Sweating
spice for breakfast, spice for lunch, spice for tea. It's yeah, certainly.
Spice is nice. Second half underway here between Korea and Chinese Taipei. Chinese Taipei with possession and leading by 2, attacking the basket on the left, to the left of your screen. And driving in and missing immediately for Chinese Taipei with Lin. And a little bit of backcourt pressure. Excuse me, that was Huang with the miss. And now Korea throws it out of bounds. They're appealing to the referee to say that it went off of a player, at least the coaches. The players were walking down the other end of the court. China and New Zealand will be next, followed by Japan and India. Australia have already won their game.
Kang was so important in that first half. Even though they didn't have high scoring, she was creating, she was causing the issues for Chinese Taipei. And if she can start to warm up, this could be huge for Korea.
Well, my thought process was certainly once one of them went in, they were going to catch fire. Let's see if that holds true. Chinese Taipei with an air ball, Kim with the rebound.
A critical phase now for Chinese Taipei. Their defense needs to really step up.
Korea pass it around the perimeter. Now become a little bit stagnant. Bay quickly over to Park. Park Hae-jun has really struggled from the floor today. 0 for 6. She has yet to score.
Yeah, not what we expected before the game. We expected her to be one of the players that we'd see some points coming from, and she won a big second half to prove us right.
Well, that last one made her 0 for 7. And now Chinese Taipei turn it over. So Korea's defense, if there's one thing that's been pretty steady today, it has been that Korean defense. This is Kong's three, the go-ahead three-pointer. And Korea looking to press home that advantage right now. Try to build some momentum. Kong, now the pass and the turnover. Nope, they're going to say the ball went off of Chinese Taipei. So 3 seconds on the shot clock. But the way Korea gets offensive rebounds, even if they miss this, there's a good chance they're going to get a new 14. Oh, quick inbounds pass under the basket. Great defense by Chai to deny with the block. And then good play by Chinese Taipei's Chen Wei-an. Here's Chai with the block. So free throws coming for Chinese Taipei at the other end because Chen alertly went straight to the basket. Not for the first time today.
No, smart move, really smart move. And the thing that you got to be frustrated to your career, if Kim Min-jong had just taken a stand, put her hands up and stood still, that would have been a charge because there was no way whatsoever that Chen was going to slow down or stop. She was going direct. It was a direct ticket straight to the basket and she wasn't going to deviate. So if she just managed to take a stand, that would have been a charge.
Bay comes up top and catches it. Now Park. Bay. All of a sudden you feel the momentum going back a little bit to Chinese Taipei, the way they're playing defense. But Kong puts up another three. And then a hold called on Chinese Taipei on the rebound.
And it's a fine balance now for Korea to take as we see them miss it, and the foul, as you can clearly see that
not allowed to wrap around like that.
No, it's too obvious for the officials as well. You're allowed a bit of physicality, maybe not that much, but you're allowed a bit of physicality.
Well, a lot of bodies falling over each other. Number 31, Jen, goes down hard.
But for Korea now, they need to be really balanced. They need to make sure.
Well, driving is Kong for her second basket of the half.
She's come alive in this second half, hit the three. Now she's driving strong to the basket. Things are going her way, and that would be a worrying sight if I was a fan of Chinese Taipei.
And she's really been. And now it gets back to be more of that first half. Chinese Taipei punished Korea when they falter on the offensive end. Kong this time took steps.
And this is the key, you know, you feel like Chinese Taipei will punish Korea. Every time they make mistakes like this, they will come down the other end and score the basket. You know, they will go in transition. They'll try and push the ball as hard as they can and be very, very direct offensively, which at the moment Korea aren't necessarily able to stop easily, whereas Korea don't seem to have that same kind of direction on the offensive end. Turnover for Korea as well. They'll not be happy with that. They'll want to be protecting the ball better than that. Only 24 minutes of play gone and already 12 turnovers. That's the kind of figure you'd want at the end of 40, not at the end of 24.
Wong. Cheng and Sai sneaks in there for the offensive rebound. It's going to go right back up, but forced it a little bit. Would have been better off taking it back outside. Sai grabs the rebound. I tell you, you wonder about this Korea team, the way they just continue to struggle. They had the little bit of momentum. They haven't taken advantage.
And you have to credit Chinese Taipei for that. You feel that every time that you've almost kind of, as we see a replay, the reach around, almost a foul. But every time that Korea slightly start to spark something, start to get a little bit of a run going, Chinese Taipei just have that ability to stick something in the works, stick a spanner in the works and slow things down and make Korea almost have to adjust straight away and try something else. Because Korea now, they've hit 1-3 and all they seem to want to do is try and jack threes up. You know, maybe they had the same mindset that you were talking about. If one drops, we're going to get in the drop. You need to be a bit more read and react than they are at the moment.
And the pass to the cutter, Kang. And the ball goes out of bounds to Chinese Taipei. Kang looking for a foul, but I think the referee's got it right. And now Koo, that was her shot on the previous trip down the floor. But that was the immediate answer by Chinese Taipei, Huang to Huang. Fanshan. That was one that they needed.
Yeah, good defense by Korea, though. They seem to have stepped it up a little bit. They're chasing a little bit harder around screens.
Now going baseline, a little bit out of control, but they let her play. Kim Min-jeong.
And wonderful body control as well. As she broke through, she knew she was going to draw contact, but her eyes didn't take away. You saw her focus fully on the basket. She didn't look at the person she was going to plow into. Real good concentration.
Yeah, that's a clear foul.
And a completely pointless foul. That's the most frustrating thing if you're your coach, you know. You're going parallel to the basket. There's no threat. There's nothing going to happen. You're not being beaten. You're not being put at a disadvantage, and you just give away a foul.
You can't reach around, especially a ball handler, and kind of impede her progress with your right forearm with a hold. So going to the line is Ching and making the first. And again, this game just remains tight on the scoreboard. No evidence really from either team that they can blow this thing open.
No, you have a feeling that it's teetering, though. You have a feeling in this fourth quarter that, you know, coming up, that there might be a run. There might be a team that take a 3-4 minute burst and maybe open up a double-digit lead, which may snap this game. But yeah, at the moment, it really is just trading baskets, scrappy, tough basketball. Korean player, and you increase your intensity on the defensive end, and it showed. They forced out that shot clock turnover.
So timeout on the court with 1:42 remaining. And Kusul becomes all of a sudden the X factor for Korea. 5 points off the bench. All 5 coming just in the last minute and 15 seconds or so.
괜찮아.
넘어와서
아 여기인데 그냥 내 탈이니까.
위에 반대예요.
지금 들어가서 우리가 힐을 해. 알았지?
You have to feel like if you're Korea, you've gotten out of jail because we've had an almighty struggle today. You look up at the scoreboard and it's 35-35, and the shooting percentage is part of the story.
Yeah, for a team like Korea as well, the shooting percentages are key. You'd expect them to hit threes, but, you know, players coming off the bench doing big jobs like Koo coming in 5 points in next to no time. And as I said, that's an absolute godsend when you're a coach to know you can bring someone off the bench and they're going to spark straight away. They're going to be at 100% and up to speed and up to, you know, heat straight away, and wonderful to see.
My question is, does he know that he's going to get that from her, or is this kind of her coming out party?
Potentially. And you wonder now, are they going to shape some offense to go around her? She's got a hot hand. She's got some confidence. Are they going to get the ball in her hand?
Yeah, that's what I would do. Definitely. But we saw Kong hit the shots. Shooting the basketball today. But At the end of 3 quarters, it will be indeed Korea 39, Chinese Taipei 35.
At the end of third quarter, the score is Korea 39, Chinese Taipei 35.
Well, here in Bengaluru, it's the second game of the opening day, and it's Korea finally with a small lead, 39-35 over Chinese Taipei.
Yeah, it's been a strong third quarter for Korea, outscoring Chinese Taipei 17-11, and they really are in the middle of this kind of momentum shift that they've had, and it's absolutely critical now. For me, the next 2-3 minutes could decide this game. It really could. Do Chinese Taipei come back out and almost hit a reset button, take it back to that first quarter when they were really able to stifle and confuse almost at times Korea, and Korea struggled to get shots? Or do Korea now continue where they left off? Do they pick up? Do they get open shots? Are they hitting mid and long range jumpers? And are they coming out with confidence? Because if they are on the offensive end, for Korea it seems to be that's the spark that gets their defensive intensity going.
Yeah, and honestly, I think just those 2 big 3-pointers, one of them by Koo. They were 0 of 7 at halftime from 3-point range, and they were 2 of 4 from deep in the quarter. Korea. We saw signs of life from Park, Haejun, and well, Bae hit that critical drive, well, important drive coming in from the right. So better signs, but it's like you say, I mean, it's still only a 4-point game, and this is where Chinese Taipei have to really dig in, be disruptive, try to scramble.
Yeah, it really comes down to now who's going to impose their style on this game for the next 2 minutes.
The fourth quarter underway. Chinese Taipei with the ball. Ju, number 77. Gets it over to Huang Fanshan. Now Ching has it. Gets into the paint. Goes right into the Korean defense. Nothing called. They get it back. Huang Fanshan launches it. Misses everything.
And that's not what Chinese Taipei wanted their first offense to be. A really difficult in amongst the trees first attempt, and then an air ball 3, and it gives Korea a huge opportunity to extend their biggest lead. Defensive end, if they can lock down Chinese Taipei, then they will walk away with the win. The offense will speak for itself.
See, Jin can't wait to sit down and get a drink. Maybe get some attention on an injury over there. That is a very difficult, lazy pass, and they are punished for it.
Yeah, just like you say, lazy, not fast enough. An arc on the pass, slightly off target, and at this level, they're going to get picked out. People want those easy points, and Korea profit from that one.
Here again. Now this is the alley-oop. Look at this. Oh. Boy, that was close, wasn't it?
Very, very close.
Chinese Taipei timeout. Let's listen in.
이렇게 나와 있어. 어? 혜진아, 잘 봐. 여기다 패스 주고, 오케이? 가라고. 그때 볼 이렇게 나가서 볼 잡으면 돌아서 그냥 바로 잡아서 봐봐. 잡자마자 이렇게 발 빼지 말고 잡아서 그냥 치고 들어가서 하란 말이야. 알았지?
지연아, 네가 줄 건데 언니 못 치면 너 위에잖아. 지연아, 그냥 너가 알체.
Is that Wagner speaking in the language?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's
getting
jumped
the
in.
Korean audio.
I don't know. Yeah,
I was quite
be
taken
either
aback
way.
by that. I'm going to ask him after the game.
could be either way.
Okay, so back to a 6-point lead for Korea, and only 6 minutes and 51 seconds remaining. fouled. Not for the second time tonight. A long way from the basket.
And it's so unnecessary that, you know, the Chinese Taipei offense wasn't going anywhere. They were running through the motions and it wasn't creating any gaps, creating any space. The shot clock was down to 12. They were facing away from the basket.
And that's Kim's 5th, so she's gone.
Frustrating foul.
She just wanted to go sit down and watch. Drew passes up the shot. Huang. Now Korea again with a 6-point lead. And I feel like right now if a basket goes for Korea, it is a dagger. Good pass down low, and Park almost with the reverse.
It really is for Chinese Taipei to change something now. It's not for
2-point game.
Huge, huge play by Chu there. Really outsized as well, and a nice fly up high off the glass for the ball, and she makes it count. And like you say, 2 points now. You can see Korean nerves coming out.
Great finish by Bai. She's tough. She's almost automatic if she gets the ball that close to the basket.
Yeah, she almost played 30 minutes as well, so they've lent heavy on her tonight.
Trip onto the second team foul Korea here in the quarter. Look at that pass. And then that was the answer from Ju, or the play before that, in fact. So that last layup, that last layup gave by Bay gave Korea that 4-point lead. Korea have they've played hard for a lot of the game, but I wouldn't say they've necessarily played well. If they get away with a win today, they're gonna be very happy.
Oh yeah, exceptionally so. Things haven't gone their way. The thing is, they started the game really well. Everything, you could see they were running what they wanted to run, and their game plan was being followed perfectly. It just wasn't working though. They weren't getting the ball to drop, and ultimately that's what we're here to do. So if they can come away with a win, this is a sigh of relief from the Koreans.
Okay. Okay. Let's go. Let's go defense. 1, 2, 3.
Chang with 10 points, 8 rebounds. That's a quiet attempt at a double-double. Just 2 rebounds away. Good effort.
Yeah, definitely put a shift in. 4 from 9 from the field as well, so reasonably efficient.
And that was a terrific effort there. Chang, probably the best play of the game, seeing the shot clock winding down. Huang gets inside. Huang Fanshan gets the rebound. Huang from deep. And again, Korea with a chance to throw in a dagger. Chinese Taipei finding it extremely difficult to score. So if they can add another 2 or 3 points, that would be monumental. Shot clock about to expire, though, and they're not even going to get a shot off. Or will they be ultimately punished? Well, Ju was wide open underneath, but Huang couldn't get her the ball.
Yeah, for me, I personally think if Korea can get to 50 points, which sounds crazy to say, I think they're going to take the win. I think that's where we are. You know, Chinese Taipei want it to be really low scoring. They've not been profitable at all offensively, so I think 50 points could win this game.
Well, there's only 2:45 to go now. Kang right at the end of the shot clock, and that triggers a break for Huang Fanshan. Back outside to Huang. And Huang Fanshan gets it back. Nice bounce pass to Huang, and the travel. One step too many. Korea hang on for maybe what you might call an ugly win.
Yeah, certainly not a pretty one, that's for sure. But at this stage, I think of the game, they'd just quite happily take any kind of win whatsoever. It's not gone their way today, so a win is a win for them in game day one.
Park off target. People listening in from around the world, I know, getting all sorts of messages, wanting to know how this one's going to finish. Huang was looking for the basketball god's bounce, but it didn't go her way. Korea 2 of 13, both teams struggling from deep. In Japan practice yesterday and talking to Coach Tom Hovas, you know, those guys, that team is ready. They're ready to play, and you know, 3-time defending champions already setting their sights on a first place finish in Group A. So we've had 2 games now, and Australia big winners, and Korea grinding out a win. In some ways, I guess a win like that for Korea is even more satisfying, knowing that you didn't have anything close to your best, and yet you still got a win.
It's both ways. It's satisfying that you haven't played anywhere near your best and you're picking up a win in the Asia Cup. But it's also, I imagine, quite concerning for the coaching staff that they've come here and maybe they're not ready. Maybe there are a few things that they still need to work on. They'll have a training session before their game tomorrow. Whether they work that, most coaches won't run a full training session. It'll just be pretty much getting shooting reps up and running through some offense. But plenty to work on in less than 24 hours for both these teams.
Okay, so Australia winning at 123-57 over the Philippines, and Korea winning it by 4 over Chinese Taipei. Next up will be China, New Zealand. They're already warming up on the court. And then we'll wrap things up with Japan and India tonight.